Man, I am just I can't even continue this transmission. This is so un-American. This is so evil. And now they're going to stage terror attacks and come for our guns. Ah! Why am I so upset? Because everything that happens daily only confirms it is the worst, most virulent strain of tyranny that we have ever faced in the United States or worldwide. They are going to go for broke. They are going to do everything. The gun confiscation, the FEMA camps, the troops are already... They're appointing 29 and 32-year-old Army captains and colonels to take over the state police from Illinois to you name it. They're pulling out all the old state police commanders. They're putting in New World Order people. They're federalizing everything. My God, a full-bore New World Order coup d'etat against the people of the United States, and it's happening in every other major Western nation. The republics are falling. The last vestiges of the old republic are being swept away right now. And you don't send your children, even if they're homeschooled, they're going to claim they've got to report to federal duty in middle school. They will send the CPS to kidnap them if they don't. They're moving with forced inoculations. They're moving with bills to ban gardens, literally, that in mainstream news, suddenly mayors and city council people are saying we can't let people have gardens without police inspections because you might grow marijuana. I mean, just hardcore super tyranny is upon us. And the good news is people are waking up to it, but they're not waking up to just how hardcore it is. Paul, I want to let you go in a minute so you can go write an article. It is now passed. It is now law. Mass total slavery. It is confirmed. Again, we're not omnipresent. That's why a caller alerted us an hour ago. In my gut, all I've been thinking about is this the last 2 days. I knew they were debating it. I've been sick at my stomach. I have been very upset because this is just so horrible to our precious republic that it's completely falling to this. You think I take pleasure in making films, doing all these radio shows, and busting my butt? No, I'm doing it because I know these are hardcore killers taking control. And you idiots out there, George Bush would have done it if he could get away with it. He helped set it up. This is continual. It's the National Security Council. It's high treason. Everybody's got to go to their city councils and talk about this. Everybody's got to get in front of government and say, we're not going to be chilled by your intimidation. We're not going to be chilled by this. They want their Obama army to create the illusion of grassroots support to go push this and bully cities, counties, and the Congress into whatever. And that's what they're doing. They made millions of phone calls to Congress this weekend to pass this and to pass all the rest of their stuff. And they're going to use those millions of people that will call and write and email as a false organic movement to ram through as a battering ram to destroy the republic. You have to organically, the real republic, speak out against this and say no and then not follow it. My God, pull your children out of government training camps, do whatever but see, they're imploding the economy where you got to take 2-3 jobs, then the school's there to have after hours to take your kids over. Paul Watson, I know I'm freaking out, but this is a normal response. I mean, here it is, New York Times. National Service Corps bill clears Senate hurdle. Following overwhelming House passage last week, the Senate tonight voted 74-14 on a procedural move that essentially guarantees a major expansion of the National Service Corps, a cornerstone of volunteerism that dates back to the era of President Kennedy. It's old, it's good. It's akin to the call of arms by President Obama. Oh, it's akin to it, who has hearkened back to those days. This is not volunteerism like the Peace Corps, which is really CIA. This is, they won't even tell people when they announce it what it is, but we've got the bill, forced compulsory service, and then we've got the Pentagon Department of Defense announces civilian expeditionary force and says forced conscription involuntary. Paul Watson.
Alex, I don't know if Kurt mentioned this in his article, but it gets worse. 12th Amendment to the Act, which has now been passed.
Oh, my God.
Reads, quote, amendment to prohibit organizations from attempting to influence legislation, organize or engage in protests, petitions, boycotts or strikes, and assist, promote or deter union organizing.
Yeah. No, Kurt covered it. So they're only allowed to do the government's political actions they want. Obama's openly saying these groups are political, and he's already launched it. But then selectively, everybody else will be under conscription, and then you can't. So banning our free speech, only their propaganda. Finish up when we come back, Paul. I'm going to let you go. We need a master article that explains it all to people historically. This is slavery. Senate and House pass national slavery bill. That is what it is. Red level emergency, ladies and gentlemen. What does this say about the Congress? What if you had a chance to stop Lenin, to stop Hitler, to stop Mao, to stop Pol Pot, to stop Fidel Castro? Would you do it? We know how to beat them. Shattering the left-right paradigm, pointing out that it's a seamless police state we're being brought into through administration after administration. The Obama deception does it. I want you to get the DVD at Infowars.com. I want you to commit to buy 100 blank DVDs, and I want you to make copies and give them out. If we move against them and show the hardcore tyranny they're carrying out, we can beat them. If you're listening on an AM or FM station, stop at red lights. Tell people to tune in right now. Tell them about the internet. I don't know many other shows, and I wish they were, covering this information. Instead, all they do is cover me jealously in the Patriot movement and attack me 24/7 because we're the biggest show. Well, they don't understand. The reason we're successful is we're real. We don't have any future, folks, if we don't stop this. This country is just rotten. There's so many stupid people, mentally ill people, people that don't have normalcy to get angry. My God, and it's all over the news that they passed it. They're saying, oh, it's just a little service thing. It's no big deal. It's compulsory. It's setting it up. It says compulsory. It says it. It says it. It says it. They've got military taking over every major police department openly. They're openly taking over. Paul Watson, I'm going to shut up. I want you to just recap what we're dealing with here. And then the article you're going to have out, the next hour or two, this needs to go supernova like nothing you've ever written. I am begging people, if you care about your future, your children, if you don't want to be slaves, because now they're setting up the body to administer it, a new federal agency, we must just scream bloody murder, say no to all of it, just like they announced they're going to put satellite tracker boxes in all cars to track and trace you a month ago. Then they back off and say, oh, we're not going to do it right now. We've got to just expose this for what it is. It's going to be hard for them to implement this. Paul Watson, we got to fight them.
What's interesting about this quote out of the New York Times article is that Senator Barbara Mikulski, Democrat of Maryland, said that this, and they call it an army, dispersed to help with education, health services, and the environment. An army would number about 7 million people.
Yeah, that's what the CNN piece, I interrupted, I'm sorry, but that's what the CNN piece says, Army. And then, see, they're getting you ready for that. Go ahead. 7 million people. Now, about 1 in every 50 East Germans collaborated with the Stasi back in communist East Germany. And 7 million is about 1 for every 50 Americans. In fact, it's more than that. And the leadership, this is key for the article to put in there, my friend, the leadership of this will be taken from the 50,000 InfraGard executives in infrastructure protection with shoot-to-kill orders for martial law, mainstream news. The 26,000 clergy response teams for martial law to tell their flock to turn in their guns and go to the camps. That's in the document. You understand, folks? It's in the document. It's in their secret training that we got a year and a half before it was mainstream news, and we got called liars just like Mayak. Okay, now let me expand on that, folks. You know, it just hit me like a ton of bricks that they're just going to do everything. This means the Congress are total whores and will pass anything and do anything. They've got bills introduced, moving through the legislature federally to literally ban semi-autos, psychological testing, gun bans, shutting down gun shows. They're openly announcing it. Paul, go ahead. Go ahead and recap. Say what you just said again. A 7 million. He just announced a 13 million separate volunteer army. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's the quote from Senator Barbara Mikulski, Democrat of Maryland, said that 7 million people will be engaged in such work, and it's called an army dispersed to help with education, health services, and the environment, which would vastly enlarge the notion of, quote, community organizing. So 7 million is about 1 for every 50 people in the United States, which is equivalent to what it was in Stasi East Germany.
And when we, remember 5 years ago when it broke and nobody could believe it, when we went to the U.S. Congress and the funding for it, and it was confirmed, I didn't believe it when Al Martin reported it. It was true. They hired Marcus Wolf, he died last year, the former head of the Stasi, and Primakov, the former Russian KGB chief. For 2 years, they consulted on how to do this.
That's right. And I mean, this is the massive turnover for people losing their jobs because of the economy. They're all going to be hired by the government. And you're going to have the same situation that we've got in the UK, where this common purpose group has its people in key positions of power, and they can control an entire city, and they network out to the entire country. So these people are going to be, a lot of them are going to be primarily drawn from people who are already in positions of power, and they're going to be given these new roles. Now,
here is the key to all of this. It's how they introduce it. Again, we know we've said this, but you got to explain to everybody. Oh, there's going to be troops, and now they are at DWI checkpoints. You're not for drunks, are you?